going out back Australia. I'm going out back Australia. See you there.
G'day everyone, it's Roy at Sunland Caravans. Look, something just a little bit different today. We've been getting a number of questions coming through. Some of them are on here, and so we're going to quickly talk about these things. So Mark H writes, can you talk about the interior lights you use? So Mark, I'm not 100% sure I understand exactly what the question is, but the bottom line is we use either LED lights or we use strip lights. So we're not using any incandescent lights. So it's all low voltage use. Depending upon the application as to where we put those lights. So generally speaking, we try and make sure there's plenty of light in the galley so you can see what you're doing when you're cooking. We'll put lights in, say, the tunnel boot so you can see what's happening inside the tunnel boot. And there'll always be a light directly over the eating area. And we'll always have reading lights around the bedroom. So we do have one special light, which is normally in the ensuite, which is a motion detection light. The other lights that we do is on the outside. Again, we have either the motion detection lights or we use those white and yellow LEDs, and that's just customer choice. So I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please come back, say, Roy, you're dipstick, I wanted to know about this, if you don't mind. Okay. Shane says, can you run the air conditioning on the Victron inverter? And if so, how long? You know what, Shane, that's a really, really good question, because it all depends on the size of the batteries that you've got on board and your ability to recharge those batteries. But starting with, say, our top of the line Phoenix, which has got the 225 lithium battery and a 3000 watt inverter, you could probably run that for 5 or 6 hours as long as you've got the ability to recharge those batteries the following day. Otherwise you'll find, you know, if you're just relying on the solar, you won't get enough power back into it to be able to run it longer than that. But, you know, 6 hours for an air conditioning is quite a decent length of time. So, and also depends, Shane, on whether or not you're running other appliances at the same time, of course. So if it's just the air conditioner, you'll get that 5 or 6 hours. But if you were trying to run that air conditioner and, say, run a microwave and a coffee machine and so forth. So not a straightforward question, but I hope that sort of gives you an idea of what you're asking about. Damien writes, you've changed the front of the Caravan and I haven't seen the Aerodynamic Front in a while. You know what, Damien? Again, that's a good point, because we've been doing a lot more of the Composite Panel Caravan. So basically, if it's an aluminium framed Caravan, you get the front that you're talking about, because that's actually a skin that's applied on top of the aluminium frame and it comes out of a mold. So in the case of an aluminium frame, we've got 3 parts to the roof. So you've got the front panel, which has got the shape you're referring, a flat panel on the top, and then there's another shape that's done at the back, and then you get the 2 side panels. Now they're about 4.5mm thick fiberglass, so they're a very solid panel, and that's probably the major difference between the composite and the aluminium frame, the front that you've referred to, and then the thickness of the fiberglass. So I hope that answers the question for you, Damien. Bonzo writes, what do the red tap valves do? Well, those red, it's actually called a red water valve, and basically what that does is it will transfer the water through that valve when it comes out of the hot water, and it circulates it back in until the water gets to the right temperature before it allows the water to come through your hot tap. So this will only work when you're on water pumps. So this only works with tank water, because let's face it, if you've got general purpose water, you know, like mains pressure water, the water usage is less of an issue. But you're on tank water, you turn this on, open your tank, open your tap, the water will dribble out a little bit until that gets the right temperature, and all of a sudden that will start to get some nice hot water. You marry that with the Girard hot water system, and we now got a very good, efficient way of not losing water, getting your hot water straight up, and using less gas, because the instant gas is very efficient. So it's a very good system. We've also a question here, where is the spare wheel located? Well, the spare wheel is located under the Caravan, and we supply you with winders so you can just wind it down. So the idea of the spare wheel is you drop that, if you get a flat, you drop that wheel down, wind it down, little hook there, just take it off, drive your caravan forward. It's now sitting flat on the floor. You can lift that wheel up and then you can just roll it up, jack up the wheel that's flat, and you do that by putting the jacks that we supply underneath the little jacking point on the A-frame. Jack up that wheel. If for some reason you can't get it high enough, you can actually jack up the wheel next to it. Jack that up, and then that will eventually lift the flat tire off the ground. Once you've done that, you exchange that over, put the flat tire back where the new one was on the ground, reverse your caravan up, hook it up and wind it up again. Now, it's a really easy process to do that way. You're not lifting up heavy tires, and it's the way that I recommend that you change a wheel if you actually in fact need to. We don't get a lot of people with flat tires anymore for some reason. I think it's because we've got the money nowadays to change the wheels. We're not waiting until they run out of tread, and the quality of the products that we produce nowadays is really good. So the tires we use are a light truck tire with a very good strong sidewall. Next question is, what is a fantastic hatch? Well, fantastic hatch works on the basis of having an electric motor that will open the hatch top part itself, and you can use that to just press the button, put that up there, and then leave it. Now you can choose to have the air coming in, or you can choose to have the air blowing out, which is a really good way of controlling the temperature inside the caravan. So for example, if it's quite warm inside here and we want to expel that hot air, we can use the fantastic hatch to blow all that hot air out. At the same time, of course, if the air outside is cooler, you can open the windows and draw some cool air in. So you've created this nice vortex of cold air coming in and hot air going out. So I really like that feature. The other thing that it's got is it's got its own controls, so you can set a temperature. So you're going to bed at night, you're either blowing the air in or sucking the air out, whichever way you're doing it. Once the temperature drops, you don't want that to work anymore. So you can actually control the temperature on the fantastic hatch, and it says, right, now it's getting too cold, I'm going to turn myself off and close the hatch, which is a really nice feature. The other thing that it's got is a little rain sensor. So your hatch is open, you're in bed at night, starts to rain, it'll go, you know what, it's raining, I'm going to close the hatch. So it'll then close itself down. So if that's not fantastic, I don't know what is. So thumbs up for the guys that make those fantastic hatches for us. Okay, we've also now got some questions about construction. And Snuffy says, do all your vans use composite panel like you demonstrated in a video a while back? Well, no, Snuffy, we do have the two different types. We have the composite panels, and then we have the aluminium framing, which I described previously there, which I did for Damien asking about the front. So why do we have the two different types? There are pros and cons to both methods, and the big pro for the aluminium frame is that thick 4.5mm fiberglass exterior, which is pretty much bulletproof. The big advantage to the composite is that you've got this insulated panel of fiberglass inside and outside. So where the aluminium frame will have a ply interior, the composite has a fiberglass interior. It's a washable surface, it's nice and clean and looks sweet. Also, the composite is slightly lighter, and also the composite is a better insulator at the end of the day. So we've been getting more and more people moving to composite panels for that reason. But I say, then there's some diehards out there that like the idea of that really strong fiberglass exterior, which is, when all said and done, a lot stronger, a lot harder to damage, and a lot easier to repair if you do repair it. So I hope that answers your question. Don, on the other hand, asked a really good question. Don has asked about Nomex honeycomb sandwich panels. They are very prolific in aviation where weight and strength is everything. Do you see that material as the next step in van manufacturing material? You know, Don, again, what a great question. We spend most of our lives trying to find products that are lighter, stronger and better and more durable. And price obviously comes into that factor as well. I have looked at the honeycomb. I would love to be able to use it. There are some difficulties in the manufacturing processes with it, and there is price constraints with that product as well. But to answer your question, bottom line is, yeah, I think we're going to be seeing more and more of those type of products coming into the caravan construction as we need them to get lighter and lighter and lighter. Not that everyone's going that way, by the way. We're seeing a lot of people just buying those big rigs and really don't care how heavy the caravans are. Lyndon writes, what is your preferred fridge, 12 volt or 3-way gas? Lyndon, again, the answer is never black and white. There are pros and cons for everything. In the case of our larger models that have big battery banks and lots of solar panels on the roof, my preference is 12 volt. Now, by the way, the new fridges are 12 volt and 240, so they actually run off your battery, but the moment you plug in 240, they'll start running off the 240 instead of the 12 volt, so you can actually charge your batteries rather than just, you know, constantly pulling it out for the fridge, which is a really good thing. 3-way fridges, however, 3-way fridges have the capabilities of running gas off 240 or off 12 volt. Now, on 12 volt, they're very inefficient. They run from your motor vehicle, and you wouldn't leave that on if the motor vehicle stopped because it'll drain your car battery. You can't hook them up to the van battery for the same reason. So they actually don't work that well on 12 volt. 240 volt, they work quite well, but they're not the same as a compressor fridge, and they don't work as well as the compressor fridge even on 240. On gas, however, gas is the perfect way to run a 3-way fridge. Gas is actually more efficient and actually wets your caravan colder quicker than a compressor fridge does. But most people don't want to be running gas all the time, so they tend to use the 3-way fridge a lot on 240 volt, which doesn't work as well. So if you haven't got enough power to run it, a compressor fridge, then a 3-way fridge is only your real option. If you do, my advice is to run it on gas as much as you can. If you do that, you'll get better use out of that 3-way fridge. So I hope that answers your question, Lyndon, and thank you again for the question. Okay, so we've got some other ones here. Abdul, real fat mate. Even though I'm from Malaysia, for me Australia is the best in the world for top-notch caravans. Quality caravans in the world. And you know what, Abdul, I like you a lot because you're obviously a guy that's done his homework. I would agree with that fact. In fact, I would say Australia builds the best caravans in the world without a shadow of doubt. And there's reasons for that. Part of the reason is our terrain, our diversity of weather, our small population that demands better quality products, and our need to fit more things on them. So when I went to Europe not that long ago, I noticed they're not fitting things like air conditioning as standard. They're not putting awnings on as standard. They have much lighter, smaller caravans. The demand is to be able to use sedans. So they don't build them as strong, and they build them light, and they look at fast turnovers. We don't have a lot of supply, so our turnover's not as great. So our products actually have to last longer. So yes, in Australia we build the best caravans in the world. In Queensland, we build the best caravans in Australia. So the Queensland manufacturers are all much smaller manufacturers. They're more unique, and they really do build the very best caravans in Australia. So they're building the best caravans in Australia, and Australia's best caravan manufacturers in the world. I would say Queensland build the best off-road caravans in the world by far. So Abdul, thanks for that comment. Judy writes, wish you could open a business in the States. Your quality is so much better than what we have here. Keep the videos coming. Love them, Judy. Thank you so much. We love that positive feedback. Now, I haven't got these in writing, but I can tell you, I'm really want to thank all those people that have been so supportive and come out and constantly tell me how much they love the videos. Even if I occasionally have the husband saying he's sick of her listening to it, or the wife saying she's sick of the husband listening to it. Had that a couple of times at the caravan show. We try and be informative, and we try and tell you far more than what you're going to get anywhere else. So thank you so much for those comments. And you know, who knows, one day we might be able to deliver to the States. We have sold a couple of vans, one recently to the Arab Emirates, so we are getting out there. And of course, Lark Hill writes, again, great video, again, fantastic vans. Do you deliver to Germany? Driving back might be my only way home. We need a Hilux with a big snorkel. Might do a Victron course while I'm waiting. Looks like top-notch product. Lark, thank you again for those comments. We actually agree with you there. Well, we agree on the fantastic vans, of course. and we love doing the videos. But yeah, one day we would like to be able to deliver to Germany. The Victron comment is a good one too. You know, it is worth doing some study on the Victron because you can do so much more with it than what we tell you, because we're understating the Victron's capabilities, not overstating it. And I don't talk about things such as the app that you can use to be able to look at the state of charge and so forth. What we do, however, is give you a wiring diagram and instructions when you take delivery of the van, and we are looking at doing more instructions for that online with future videos. So again, look everyone, if you are enjoying these videos, please keep the comments coming, like, subscribe, hit that alarm button so you're aware of the new ones that's coming up, and hey, I'm going to see you for the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.
I'm going out back